Okay, so we should be recording now. So thank you all for joining us this afternoon for our final session for this blended course. My name is Aubrey Harrison. I'm a digital innovation specialist here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. I am joined by Trish Cloud. She is in the chat room. So if you have any questions, you can post something in the chat and she'll be there to respond and provide any kind of support that you might need. So today I want to just walk you through, out of curiosity, is this anybody's first synchronous session? Is this anybody's first time at one of these for this week, one of these sessions? Okay. Okay, that's perfectly fine, no problem. All right, so I do want to go over a few basic things for you. So for those of you who have come to a previous one, this first part you will already be familiar with. You already know what I'm talking about. So just bear with us as I go through some of these, go through these slides real quick. So I'm going to share my screen and walk through these slides. All right. So this is the Getting Googly blended session. So this was part synchronous, part asynchronous, where we have some a course that you will be able to go through, as well as some training that we're going to go through with you today. So some basic goals for this course. What we really want to do is expose you to some different features inside of Google Workspace, excuse me. And show you some of the different tools that are available and some of the features within those tools. And then also talk to you a little bit about the digital learning competency. So that is the set of competencies that were set by the state of North Carolina that was informed by multiple things like the ISTE standards and the teacher evaluation systems. And I may call if any of you guys are familiar with that. All those were part of building the DLC. So it is something that is considered a portion of best practice when it comes to teaching and instruction. So, and we want to make sure that as you get to know both of these tools, both the digital learning competencies and some of the tools in Google, that you know how to merge those together, know how to understand the use of Google tools in a way that connect with the digital learning competencies. And that's kind of what we want to accomplish with this course. So as mentioned, before the course does conclude on the 31st, so we do want to make sure that you have all your submissions in the course. So we do encourage you to try to check your gradebook as frequently as you can. I haven't had a chance to go in and see any updated submissions, but I did check them last night, and I tried to make sure that I went through and updated those as much as possible. When you go back and check your grades, you're going to see a couple of different possible markers there. So the first one might be this check mark. So if you see that, what that basically means is we have received your assignment, we checked it, and it is complete. Everything looks good. You're ready to go. If you see an X there, what that means is we have received your assignment, but there is something that needs to be addressed. So it could be something as simple as we need you to re-explain something or add a little bit more detail about what you're doing, about what you did or how you're using the tool. Or it could be something like, hey, what you submitted, it was private, we couldn't view it. Can you please check the share settings? And then also, if any other symbols that you might see there, that basically means that you have submitted the assignment, but we haven't had a chance to grade it yet. So just wanted you to be familiar with what all those things mean. And obviously, if there's nothing there, then that just means that nothing was submitted. So there are 5 sections in the course, one for each application. So we do have a section or a module for Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms, Drawing, and My Maps. And each one has different components. They're all broken up. We use the 5E framework, which I want to talk about here next. And it includes basically two main assignments at the end in the evidence section for a artifact and a reflection. And the key thing is we want to try to make sure that your artifact and your reflection in some way align to one of the digital learning competencies. So you don't have to do all of them. They only need to align to one competency, but whatever competency you align it to, it needs to fully align. So whatever it is, whatever that competency that you chooses, all the elements in that competency should be addressed in your submission, and the reflection should explain that connection. So that's kind of the idea behind it. Again, you only got to do 3 of the 5. You don't need to do all 5. Okay, if you need any additional help, you're welcome to send me an email. Also in the course, there is a Calendly link. There's a button there next to my name. It's also next to Trisha's name, where you can schedule a time to meet with us. So if you're not sure how to do something, if you're struggling with getting the share settings done correctly with the changes that Google is making, you can schedule me with me or Trish through our Calendly and find a time that works best for you. And we'll meet with you over Zoom to walk you through whatever your questions that you have. And it's really whatever it is, that there is no out of bounds questions. So if you are doing an assignment and you say, I want to use this Google Drawing, but I really have no idea how to connect it to a DLC, can you help me with that? Absolutely, we can help work with you on that. So that's what we're here for, but we just want to make sure you know how to contact us. I'm going to show you here in a second where in the course you can find that, but email is a good way to contact us, and a Calendly is also a good way to contact us. So I mentioned before, each one of our modules is set up with the 5E framework. So you're going to see this explore, engage, exercise, evidence, and evaluate throughout our course. So in our course, the explore is where we're going to introduce to you the application, and the engage part is where we're going to include the DLC alignment. You'll see you'll see some potential ones, so you might see more than one, but we just want to give you some ideas on some possible connections there. And then in addition to that, we're going to give you some resources. So you'll be able to see different things related to that particular application, so you become more familiar with it if you're not already. The exercise section will include a guided practice. This will be a walkthrough for you, so you'll be able to, you'll be given some steps to begin walking through an activity for that, and you'll use that to create something. The next one is the evidence, which will be the demonstration of mastery. That is the artifact and the reflection. So those are the 2 main things with that. I do want to emphasize that the artifact is important, but probably the one that usually causes the most hang up, or the one that I would put the most emphasis on, is the reflection, where you explain how your artifact connects to the DLC, being able to provide examples and specifics about how this connects is really what we're looking for. So any kind of details you can provide when you're making your reflection is really helpful. We're really looking to see how you are building that connection and reflection, and the reflection is a great way to do that. And the last part, the evaluate, is where it's just kind of an overall reflection on the tool itself, to kind of close out that section, close out that module. So that's what you're going to see in the setup of the course. So I'm just going to jump into the course real quickly. And I'm going to just want to mention just a few basic things. When you get to the course, you will see some announcements that Trish and I have posted, so you can go there to see any new updates in the course. I know I posted one last night, so I encourage you to take a look at that. When you start the course, and you go ahead and you click start here, you'll see this introduction page where you will see my name and Trisha's name and our email addresses. And here are the buttons that you can click on that will take you to our Calendly, again, if you want to schedule a time to meet with us. The one thing that I added in here is I did add a link here for this missed day synchronous sessions. I understand that for various reasons, people weren't able to make some of our synchronous sessions. And we wanted to make sure that we had some options for you in case you weren't able to make it. And so if you did not get to make one of our synchronous sessions, remember you had to attend two. Then you can click on this make a synchronous session or miss a synchronous session link, and this will bring up a modal that will have some information about what you can do to make up whichever ones that you missed. So if you missed one, then you would just need to do this one time. Whereas if you missed all of our synchronous sessions, then you would need to do 2 of these makeup sessions. The recordings will be here. The recordings from Monday are already posted. The ones from today will be posted later today. Okay. And there's more information in here about the grading and the connection and things of that nature. Okay, I'm gonna jump around a little bit so I can get to some of the content that I want to cover today. There is information in here about shareable links. And I want to show this to you for a couple of different reasons. Number one, you're going to see things like elements like this in the course. If you see this rectangular box that looks like this, these are all accordions. So these are things that you can click on and you'll see some information that will pop up below it. And you'll see this in a couple different places. When we introduce some of the potential competencies, you will see it in an accordion style. So I just want you to know that when you see this with the arrow across from it, these are accordions that you can click on. But this gives you some information about how you can share your Google files when you're submitting them. Now, I will also say that this was done pre-update. So this was before Google did updates. And this is also why I generally try to link information about Google to Google's site, because they would update the information as opposed to this being copied. But I think if you follow these guides here, this will still be okay for the next, for the rest of this week, for the rest of this course. But I just want you to know that this information is there for building your course, or for submitting your link for your submission. And the last thing I just want to show here about the course is this is our Google application page. So this is where we have an introduction. You'll see there's a little description list here for each application. You'll notice each application has the little square, little dotted rectangle around it. And you can hover over each one of those, and that'll give you some supplemental information about that. So you can see, okay, for Google Docs, here's some information about some good student uses. Here's some information about ELL students using it. Here is for drawing. Here's a video about how to use that. So there's some different information here for each one that you can go to get more acclimated with that particular tool. So that's what this piece is here. And then down here at the bottom is where you can actually just jump into that module and learn more. You can go to Google Docs and learn more about Google Docs and begin interacting with all the elements in that module and completing those assignments. Okay. So for this session, I wanted to go over, there's actually 2 applications that I have not gone over this week, and I was going to go over one of them today. I will say, and those 2 applications, by the way, are Google Slides and Google Drawing. I've gone over the rest. The rest of them are in the recordings from this week. So the good thing about Google Slides and Google Drawing is there is a great deal of overlap between the 2. A lot of the things that you would do to set up your Google Slide and add elements to your Google Slides, they work the same with Google Drawing. There's only some slight differences between the 2 that I can talk a little bit more about as we go forward. But I was going to pick one of them and talk about how and set it up and then build it from there. But just know that whichever one that we do, the other one pretty much works the same. So I was going to do Google Drawing. Unless there is an objection, I can do Google Slides if you guys would prefer Google Slides, but I was going to go ahead and jump into Google Drawing. Does anyone have any objections? Does anybody really want to see Google Slides over Google Drawing, which is perfectly fine? I can do that. No objections? Okay, works for me. So I will admit, I do have a little bit of a work, a little bit off of the assumption that of all of these, probably Google Slides is the one that gets used the most. So I feel like, generally speaking, that's the one that people would be the most comfortable with, most familiar with. So I was trying to do the other one. So we're going to start with Google Drawing. So Google Drawing is, they call it a diagramming tool. So if any of you are familiar with Microsoft and you've used Microsoft Paint before, this is very similar to that. This is basically a blank canvas that will allow you to add a lot of creative elements to it, allow you to do different things with color and with images and shapes and lines and all sorts of stuff. So you can kind of play with that. There is a video here that talks about Google Drawing and how you can set that up and how you can use Google Drawings. One of the things I want to mention for those of you who haven't had a chance to get started in the course, one of the things you will see in different spots in the course is you will see these quick checks. These quick checks are just questions. They're really self-assessment questions for you to respond to, but I bring it up to say you can't proceed in the course without answering the quick check. You'll notice down here, it'll give you this red text here telling you that you have to answer the quick check to proceed. And you do have to answer it correctly, but know that this is not graded. So, and you can answer this as many times as you want to. So I could click on here and get this wrong as many times and still get the correct answer. And then once I get the correct answer, it will pop up the that next button for me to proceed. So just wanted everyone to be aware of that. Okay. So for this particular one, for Google Drawing, we're going to be looking at Google Drawing. And then again, here are the DLCs. These things are the focus areas. And when you click on them, you'll see the DLC underneath that focus area. So you'll see that right now we just have it connected to one DLC. You can connect yours to another one, but for the purposes of this, we're just going to connect it to one. And in this case, we're going to be looking at immersing students and exploring relevant issues and analyzing authentic problems. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, you will see some information that I was telling you about before, with some resources on how to do some of these different things with drawings. They have some good examples, some templates, some things that you can look at to see how other people have done it, how other people have used drawings before, and then you can proceed from there. So I'm going to just click that one and go forward. All right. So what we're going to do is, we're going to walk through a brief exercise for building a Google Drawing. I encourage you to follow along. You're welcome to do as I do while I'm in this, or if you prefer just to sit and watch, you can just sit and watch. Either way, it's perfectly fine. Whatever will make this a better experience for you, you're welcome to do it that way. For those of you who would like to follow along, I am going to put the directions that I'm going to be using for this in the chat. So let me get this to pop up. And so I have two screens going on, so that's why I'm going to have my directions in one screen, and I'm going to have my my Google Drawing in another. But if you want to follow along, let me go ahead and add this in the chat. Okay, so there's you should be able to make a copy of that one from there. If you have any problems with that, please just unmute yourself. Let me know if I need to change the settings for it. We can adjust it. All right. So we're going to make a Google drawing, and we're going to make one from scratch. We're just going to start from the beginning. And you'll see that what will make this go by faster is as I kind of have an idea already in my head what I'm trying to create. And that's just something to consider whenever you're using really any product. If you have a good plan ahead for what you want to build, then once you get to the tool itself and you have to build it inside the tool, that makes it go by a lot easier. So this is where we're going to start with our Google drawing. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive. And in my Google Drive, I'm going to click on the New button. I'm going to go down to More, and I'm going to choose Drawing. I'm going to click Create and Share. So again, in my Google Drive, I just went to New, More, and then it gave me that side menu, and I went to Drawing. And that gave me the ability to open this up from here. Google Drawing works a lot like all the other applications inside of Google. The sharing works the same. I could share this with a group or with one person, and we can collaborate at one time to build it together. Okay, so a couple of things I want to mention to you is I don't know if it's clear on your screen or not, but one thing you'll notice is that I have this blank canvas here that has like a checkered style, a checkered look on the canvas. Note that that checkered style just means it's transparent. That means that anything that you put on this canvas, this is being put on a transparent background. So just know that's what, whenever you see those checkered squares there, that's what that means. So whenever you leave it there and you put something on top of it, you're putting it on a transparent background. Now, if you don't want it on a transparent background, if you want something specific, a specific color, or maybe a specific image, you can add something different. So in this checkered area, if I wanted to change this to maybe a color, I can right click on this, and then you'll see there's an option here for background. Okay, again, I just right clicked on the background and then I'll see the option that says background. Then I can choose maybe another color. You can choose a combination of colors. There's lots of things that you can do with it, but if you wanted your background to be something a little different, maybe something that's connected to your school colors, you can go over here and change the color of your background. Just wanted everyone to be aware of that. I'm going to take mine off. Another thing that I usually encourage people to do at the beginning whenever they're using Google Drawing is if you have an idea of what you're putting in there, you might, or what you're making, then I usually recommend resizing your canvas, resizing the space that you're going to be creating your drawing in to fit whatever it is that you're making. For example, if I know that I'm going to be making a button on here, particularly a button that's going to be a little bit more rectangular, then I might change this canvas to be a little bit more rectangular. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. One way is you can do it by hand. So notice at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, on your canvas, there are these little lines down here. And if you put your cursor on your line, you can click and drag, and then that will give you the ability to resize your canvas. And you see, I can just drag mine to make it more of a rectangle. And then that's really more, and I just undid it, but that just lets you resize it more by freehand. And the reason why I recommend people do that first is because particularly when you put text and images on here, if you decide later that you need to resize your canvas, you're going to end up stretching that text and those images out. Whereas if you do the resizing of the canvas first, those images and those texts, those objects that you have on your canvas will stay in proportion. So it's just something to consider. The other way that you can resize your canvas, particularly if you know specifically what you need, if you know exactly the size that you need, you can go over here to where it says File, and then you can go down here to where it says page setup. So under file, you'll find page setup, and then you'll see some settings, some orientation that you can use for your page. It's normally set to 4:3, but you can click on it and then you can see there's some other options here. They even have a custom one where you can make your own. Well, let's just say, for example, I want to make mine the same size as a sheet of paper. I can make this 8.5 by 11 and apply it, and then it'll resize that canvas for me. So just wanted you to be aware that those are some places where you can resize your canvas, and you can go ahead and play with that there. Okay. So I am just going to begin by just adding a color to my background. I'm just going to choose something simple, and we're going to just have that color there to sit for our background. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an image. And so you have the ability to add images in multiple ways. You can always go up here to insert, and you see images the first thing. And when you hover over image, you have a couple of different ways where you can do that. You can upload something from your computer. You can do a search for an image on the web. If you have something stored on your Google Drive, you can do it that way too. So you have some different ways. If you find the URL for an image online, you can include it that way. There is also an image button, an insert image button right there in your toolbar that will allow you to insert an image here as well. So I am going to, hold on a second. I think I put the wrong. I'm sorry, I think I gave you guys the wrong directions. I want to make sure that what I'm doing, you'll be able to follow along. Nope, that's the right one. Huh, that's okay. I'm just going to do something a little different. Just to give you some background, I made an example that I was going to walk you guys through, and then felt like it was doing too much. So I tried to make one that was a little bit simpler, and so that's the one I was trying to include as a part of this. Is a one that I can still show you what I want to show you, but it doesn't have to be complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an image of some steps. So what I'm going to create here is I'm going to create basically a drawing of something that is related to social emotional learning. Something that if you were a school counselor, you wanted to post, or you wanted to provide students some digital information about social emotional learning, you could go ahead and provide them this, post this on a website, post this on the school's website, so that people could have quick access to some information to help them. And so that was kind of the purpose of this particular drawing. And so the way I'm setting mine up is going to be done with some steps. So I'm going to find a picture of some steps. So I'm going to go over here to this image. I'm going to click on this insert image option up here, and I'm going to choose search the web. And I'm going to do a search for an image of some stairs. And so there'll be a bunch of different options here. I think what I actually want, so I want a picture of stairs that are clip art. Yeah. And so I'm going to pick this one and then just drag it over. Now, you don't have to pick this one. You can pick another one That's completely up to you, but I'm just picking this set of steps because this will allow me to do what I want to do. So here's my picture of my steps. I do want to mention a couple of things about adding content inside of here. You will notice that when I click and drag this, you'll notice that you'll start seeing these red lines. You see those red lines there? Those red lines are indicating the positioning of your object, the centering in particular. So this one, by dragging it on this red line, when that red line appears, that lets me know that this particular is centered right here vertically. And if I keep dragging this down, I will get eventually a horizontal image or horizontal line. And that's letting me know that it's centered horizontally down here or right across. And so what I generally try to do is I try to get to a point where I get both lines. That lets me know that I'm right in the middle of my canvas. This same thing applies when you're using Google Slides. Whenever you really want to center something, those red lines are a good guide for it. Okay. You can always resize the image by just dragging these dots in the corner. So I can click on here and I can drag this out more and make this a little bit larger if I needed to. And you can play with the size and make it as large or as small as you want. You will also notice that those red lines I talked about, you will see them at the bottom too. So when you get to the bottom, see right there, I don't know if you can see it on mine, you might be able to see it on yours, you'll see the red lines at the bottom, letting you know you've reached the end of the canvas. Okay, so there is my image that we're going to use there. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to do is for my image, I want to include some text inside of here. I want to put some text in here that my students will be able to see. And I'm also going to eventually make it something that is interactive, something they can click on and interact with some content on their own. So I'm going to put some text inside of here, and I'm going to do it using the text box option up here. So I can click on this text box and I can I'm going to draw a text box on these steps. And what I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to have some text on this step, and then the next step following, I'm going to go all the way up. Okay. So I'm going to just go to this bottom step, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and draw a text box here. And then I'm going to be able to enter my text for here. So this first one is going to be, I'm going to call this one community involvement. There's my text box for community involvement. And if there's something that you need me to do again, please go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can even unmute yourself. There's only a few of us in here, so feel free to communicate. If there's something that you didn't see or you need me to redo, feel free to let me know. So my text here is there, but it's not very visible. I want to make it a little bit easier to see. So I do want to mention a couple of things about this. So you'll notice that instead of clicking inside the text box, see how I have a blinking line there? What that basically means is that if I want to make any changes, I gotta use this blinking line to make a to select what I want to change. So I would need to select this whole thing. I could also just click the text box itself. You notice, you see how the text box is selected, but there is no blinking line? That basically means that any changes that I make is going to impact the entire text box. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're going through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center my text, put it right in the middle. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to change the color so that's a little bit easier to see. and I'm going to make it bold, and maybe I will increase the size of it so that, again, it's just a little bit easier to see. I'll make it a 16. Okay. So there's my text for community involvement. And so what I'm going to do is I want to add text for each one of these steps. So I could go through here and do the same thing again. I can go through and choose this text box and draw a text box to include here. What I'm going to do is, since I have this last one already selected, just going to right click on it. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. So now I have two. And now I can drag the new copy one right above it to show on the step above it. Okay, I'll do that one more time. With this text box selected, I'm going to just click on the text box, so just the text box is selected. I can right click on it and I can copy it, or if you can press Control C or Command C, and then I can paste it. And now I have a copy of that original text box, and then I can drag it up here to the step above it. You can reposition it however you want to. Again, that red line is there. So if I move this around, I'll be able to see right there, that's right in the middle. And if I wanted to move this down to make it go on the step a little bit better, I can do that, but you can play with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the text in here. Let's call this one Making Connections. Okay. So now I got these two steps here. And then I could continue doing this. I could continue copying these just like I did before to make the other steps. I can click on this one and copy it and then paste it and go to the next step and do the same thing. And continue to add these to my drawing. Okay. Any questions about adding an image or adding a text box to your drawing? Okay, good. And I'm just gonna finish adding one or two more of these up here. So now I have all of these. There we go. And we'll call this one career planning. This one, that one's a little large. I might need to shrink that down a little bit. So that's a bit easier to see. Okay. And so now what we can do, what I wanted to do is I want to be able to add some interactivity with this. I want to my students to be able to click on these items so that it will take them somewhere where they can learn a little bit more about that particular section. So for example, I can go up here to this community involvement one, and I can click on that box. I can click on that text box, and I want to make that a link. And so you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can go up here to insert, and then you'll see an option down here that says link. You can also press Control K or Command K, whichever one that you want. I know some people like using keyboard shortcuts. I know a lot of people like to use the menu, whichever one. And then we can put a website that we want to link this to. So I'm going to link it to this website. I will put that website in the chat. So if you were following along and you want to have something, don't want to have to search for something, there's a website that you can just
Wi-Fi can get tricky in the afternoon with a heavy load on it. So just give him just a second. He may drop out, but he'll be right back. There he went. It's happened before. Summer in the South, it's hot, it's humid, and the Wi-Fi is weak.
So Trish, while we're waiting on him to get back, so this is my first session that I've attended. So what I need to do is go in and look at one of the videos. Is that correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
you'll fill out the form. There's a form link there too. And you'll fill out the form after you've watched the videos.
Okay, good enough.
And I've already uploaded the morning video to YouTube, and I think Aubrey's going to look at it to make sure there's nothing he wants to like remove. And as soon as I get this one this afternoon, I'll upload it to the YouTube channel too. So we should have those uploaded by tomorrow morning. They should be linked in the course, which is really good because we've enjoyed this hybrid environment, but we understand that not everyone can make all the sessions. We can't, and that's one of the benefits of not doing face-to-face is we understand we just can't get everybody all at once because schedules and schools and everything else is just hard. So he came up with the idea today of we've recorded the sessions, and so he'll give you a Google form that you have to fill out that asks you more pertinent questions, and you have to do a little bit more than what you're doing in this session, but it's going to get you the requirements that you need for the course so you can complete the course.
Okay.
Because it doesn't do it doesn't it's kind of sad, but we want you to complete the course. That's our goal, is for you to complete this course successfully and then use these tools in your classroom and feel confident using them.
Yeah.
And to keep someone from achieving that goal just simply because their principal made them go to a meeting or their PLC had to have a meeting or they were teaching summer school, you know, that just didn't get it. So hang on, let me text him real quick. I like your background.
You talking to Keisha, or are you talking to somebody else?
I was talking to Judy. She's kind of the same vibe going on. Palm trees.
Yeah, we do. We have the same vibe. The beach.
There he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, sorry about that. My internet just decided they wanted to take a nap. we have like telekinesis. He knows what I'm thinking, so he just went ahead and did it. But that's okay. I'm sorry. So let me just close this out real quick with There's only like two other things that I wanted to just mention with this. I'm not sure what the last part that I'm not sure where I cut off that, but hopefully you got a chance to see how to add the text box and how to add a link to the text box. Were you able to hopefully at least see that part? I did want to also mention, and again, this is something that you can do in Google Slides as well, is that you can frame images as well. So you can put an image on here, but then you can frame it to be a shape or whatever you want it to be, or I shouldn't say whatever you want it to be. You can frame it to be a shape, I should say. So let me just give an example. So maybe I wanted to include something at the top here to indicate kind of success for my students once they have done these things, community involvement, they've made some connections, they've worked on their coping skills and studying skills and doing some of their career planning. I can kind of include something that gives them some light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to include an image here. I'm just going to try to find something that's positive that they can see and conclude. I'm just going to put a graduation photo up here of some people. We'll just use this one for right now. So I can go in here and I can include this image. I'm just going to resize it so it's a little bit easier to see and it'll fit inside of here. And I can include this one right here at the top. And so what I can do now is I can leave that image the way it is, but I could also frame it to be a different shape. So the way I can do that is with the image selected, I can go up here to this crop image option, and I can click, instead of clicking crop image, I can click the drop down arrow next to it. And when I click the drop down arrow next to it, you'll see I'll get different shapes that I can choose from. So I can click on one of these shapes. And let's just say, for example, I want to use the heart shape. I can click on the heart shape and you'll see it'll frame that picture as a heart. And I could choose a different one. I could have chose a circle, but I just picked one. But it just gives you just some creativity that you can add to the shape of your image and how that one is framed. And so that's kind of your basics for Google Drawing. There's lots of things that you can do with this and the way you want to set this up with students. So this was just set up as being something that's informational that would give students the ability to explore some information on their own. If I really wanted to expand this and make it something where they get to analyze what they're doing, I could go up here maybe and include a shape to something, and this could be anything. I just made up a shape, and I can go in here and type in, maybe I have a link to some sort of reflection document. This could be a Flipgrid that they're going to respond to based off what they looked at on here. This could be a Padlet. So there's lots of different things that this could be, but this is just something I could add so that not only are they being exposed to this, but they could also analyze it and think through what they just saw and maybe make some planning steps to go forward to go along with it. So all that information is included there. So they could do that. The only thing I did want to mention is you could do all these same things inside of a Google slide. So all those things are possible. The only thing that I would include in here that may be different for a Google slide is the use of video. You do have the ability to include video as a part of your Google slide. And what I really like about this is the flexibility that you have once you've added a video inside of here. So I believe I might go and find that same video that I had before. I don't know if I have it on here or not, but you can insert a video inside of your Google Slides in a variety of different ways. You can go here to insert and choose video, and then you can do a search for a video. So if I might want to do one on social emotional learning, and I could pull one of these videos that's related to this, and I can include it, and I can click next. And now the video is a part of it. And what I really like about this is, and this is what if you do this particular activity in the course, you'll see that this is what you're going to end up doing is when you add the video, you have the ability to go over here to set the playback for this video. So if you want this video to start at the beginning, but you want it, at least for this slide, you want it to stop at maybe the 1 minute and 15-second mark, then the video will just play for that first minute and 15-second mark. And that's all the students would see. And then you could, if you wanted to duplicate this slide, and then now for this one, when you click on it, maybe this one, they start at 1 minute, 15 seconds, and they go to the 2 minute and 15-second mark, or whatever mark is a good stopping point. And so you could continue to go through this, and then you can build a little activity out of this where students are watching a video that has been chunked for them, and they could, answer a question, they can complete a task. And so it's all sorts of things. And once they do that, they can go to the next chunk in the video. And it's just a nice, easy way to present new content to the students. So that was part of the activity that you're going to be doing with the Google Slides one. But I just wanted to mention that to you. So, but that was pretty much everything that we have time for today with Google Drawings and Google Slides. Again, I just want to reemphasize that there is a lot of overlap in the skills that you would use in Google Drawing and the skills that you would use in Google Slide. So I know Trish has created an attendance form and posted it in the chat. So you can go ahead and pop in the chat and get a link to that form. And please make sure that you go ahead and complete that for attendance today. If you, as a part of your attendance today, for the either the Google Drawing or the Google Slide, one or the other, you can skip that exercise that's in there. You still would need to do the evidence portion. You still need to do the evaluate portion, but the exercise portion where we walk you through the guided practice, that's pretty much what we just did, particularly with the Google Drawing one. So you wouldn't need to go ahead and do that already again. You just walked through it with me just now. So just make sure that you fill out that form so we know that you were here. And once you have done that, you are all done for the day. Remember, you contact Trish or I if you have questions. But otherwise, you can sign off and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Trish.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then.
Can't hear me. We're done.
All right, when I get this video, I'll upload it to YouTube and let you know and get it on the playlist and just let you know, okay?
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're
I appreciate it.
welcome.
I'm going to try to go finish this data studio for